All right, guys, so we're going to be doing, we have a couple of rods here, different Samsungs. And by the way, this one is Amazon knockoff. And surprise, believe it or not, it's pretty tight here. Oh, here we go. All right, that's our poundage. Bottles of water. That's going to be our weight. And we're going to test now the factory shock. And then we're going to test the shock we're repairing. To get that out of there. Weigh one bottle. Give you an idea. Okay. And we're going to do 2 bottles. We're gonna do 3 bottles. And I'm going to do 4 bottles. So about 5 pounds of force. So now you have an idea how to fine tune your rods. All right, guys, so today I am going to be doing the Samsung rods, and I'm not going to do a before and after on the washer. What I'm going to do is show you what a bad rod looks like and what a good one is. And also after the repair, you will see how it is. I'm also using a Samsung factory OEM rod as a guide, as in stiffness. And in fact, I'm going to make it just a little bit stiffer. And just like the ones with the collar that a lot of people have gained a lot of, result from, we're going to do the same. And you will be able to adjust these as well over time. So now the only difference is I am going to be offering the kit, because sourcing the actual parts, it's kind of hard, I'll be honest with you. But you will see how I do it and follow along. If you want to, you can, or you could just place an order and we get those shipped to you. So follow along and let me show you how it's done. And if you can fab your own, by all means, go ahead. All right, so let me get set up, and we already opened this rod up, and that's the makeup of the rods. This is a Samsung factory rod, and that's how they make them. And the hard part is to manipulate that piece, which is this guy. It wears out, and to get the exact compression ratio, a lot of guys might just stuff something in, and then one shock might be loose, one might be too tight, and the machine might still vibrate. So this is pretty much the same thing that I was able to source, and in fact I think it's better than theirs, because theirs is almost like cork or foam. So all right, let's get started. All right, guys, here we are. Now, this is a factory rod, and this is what it looks like. You see how loose that is? If you can turn this by hand, or just barely touching it with your finger, moving it, rotating it. Now, when you hold the rod up and you push down, make sure you wear gloves, and you push down, you see that? So it's super, super bouncy. Same thing as the Whirlpool. By the way, I'm going to be doing very similar with the Whirlpool, the other ones, not with the collar. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to open this up. All right, and this is the new piece. I've inserted it already. And this is the old piece. It's worn out, broken, and it's no longer able to work as a damper. Now, you also want to add a little bit of friction here, and you want to get your sandpaper, and you want to you don't want to go up and down, you don't want to do vertical, but you want to do horizontal. And the idea behind that, over time, when the suspension rod is doing its job, this particular portion of the rod gets super, super smooth. So you require more tension for it to become more dampened, I guess. So your dampening ability becomes more difficult. So you want to rough it up a little bit, and all your points where the rods will be bouncing, you want to get those kind of rough. I think it's like 180 or 220 grit. I will confirm. And you should be able to feel the abrasion. Okay? All right. So I'm only going to do one rod. Now, you're going to insert this. And this as well gets inserted. And slide them down. Okay. Now, this is not all. Now, even though it's a lot better because I'm turning, and if we turn this one again, you can see how easily it turns. So, but we're going to increase our stiffness. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to have our set screw, and this is going to give us the ability to actually tighten down that set screw. But before you do, make sure you verify where your dampener is. See, it's sitting on top. You do not want to do that. So you want to rotate it so that when you drill, when your tension is applied, it's not sitting on top where the split is. All right, so what we're going to do now, insert this down, and you want to keep this position. You don't want to rotate it. Okay, so now I wish I had my vise, but I don't. We're going to drill a hole right there, and you want to go all the way through, but you don't want to hit the rubber. Okay, I can see it. There it is. All right. Now we have our set screw. We have to make sure that our set screw is long enough. And what we're gonna do, see we're still moving, getting tighter. Now, I recommend you use a manual to slowly tweak it. Because this has to slide over that, see that? Okay, this is too tight. Let's see. Wow, look at that. Super, super tight. Okay. That is tight. We don't need to be that tight. So we're going to loosen this up somewhat. Yeah, that is tight. All right, let's slide up and down. And we're going to just do one turn out. All right. See, that's a little, we can increase that just a little bit. Again, we're going to have a weight that you can apply to it, and all that you'll have. That's how we actually figured out the weight. The whole rod is turning, by the way, guys. It's not just, see that? Everything turns. Now, if you hold this, then you'll know how tight that is. See that? It's tight. That's pretty stiff. So now, we're going to apply our weight. And we're going to see which rod is actually stiffer. Now, you don't want to be too stiff now. You want to be firm. You want your machine to still work and do its dampening, but you don't want it to be too stiff. You're actually able to stiffen this all the way up, but you don't want that. All right, so now let me show you. This is a new OEM. Okay, this is brand new. So we're using this as our reference point. And what we're gonna do, all right, so you see the weight of these bottles, and we're gonna release the rods or the bottle. Right now I'm holding, and you wanna see how fast it goes down. It goes down pretty slow. This is the factory rod. We have not touched this one. Just balancing it. All right, they're on the ground. All right, so we're gonna test our rod now that is repaired. All right, so now we have our rod, and I'm just leveling it, balancing it, and you can see they're not even moving. Now, we want to be close. We don't want to be too firm, but also you want to make sure that you're not going to go bouncing if you do add a little bit of weight to your washer. So I'm going to push down slightly. In fact, I might add another bottle and see what it does, because we're pretty close. I haven't checked it. This is the first time checking it. So I'm going to add a little bit of downward pressure and see. Okay, so good. And I'm not pushing hard. Okay, so we're definitely more firm, and we're not even moving. So we're definitely firm. So we could probably, I might loosen it up slightly just so it eases down. I want to keep it at this 3 pounds plus. I do not want it to go sliding too much. If it does slide, it's just barely moving. That's kind of how I was fine-tuning it. If you tend to do more heavier loads, you could probably keep it right around here, a little stiffer where it doesn't move. So I'm going to loosen it just a little bit and see if it goes down. My tripod is not tall enough, guys, so I'll have to just loosen it and then come back in. All right, so I loosened it slightly. I think this is good. I mean, you push down and it goes slightly. In fact, I'm going to add another bottle, and I want to see if that does it. So we're going to go just a little bit stiffer over stock, just a tad bit. Right now, 3 bottles will push down the OEM, and we want to basically use 4 bottles to make it go down. All right, so let's add another bottle. All right, so we have 4 bottles now, and I'm going to release, and let's see what it does. Trying to keep it as level as possible, obviously, but you can see 4 puts it down, and so these are going to be pretty sturdy. A slight touch and it goes down. So these are going to be on the stiffer side. I'm going to keep them at 4 bottles. 4 bottles you should pretty much slide down. You don't want to be too stable. Basically, if you just touch it slightly with 4 bottles attached, you should go down pretty good. And I'm barely touching it. So definitely 5 bottles is going to make it go down. So we're going to keep these. We're going to weigh the 4 bottles, and that's going to be the standard for the rods. All right. All right. He's repaired. He's factory. Now, when you push down, you want to mimic this as much as possible. And if you feel that you need to snug it up some, 1 turn or so on that set screw, and that pushes the rubber more against the rod. All right, so we got 2 more to do, and let's put the OEM away. So we got this one left and this one left to do. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and pretty much what you will get in the kit is going to be, you're going to get the replacement, which is this guy. You're going to get sandpaper, and you're gonna get the set screw to complete the job, and the size of the drill bit. Drill bit will not be included. So, but pretty cheap, and it's definitely better than replacing these, and you're getting equivalent, actually better than equivalent rods, and you're keeping your original OEM instead of changing them. So the set screw is going to be, it's going to be long enough to actually go through. So you would have not that dirty piece of sandpaper, but similar, that, and the size of the drill bit, and then of course the size of the set screw. And the set screw, the bottom should not be pointy. You want to make sure it's flat. The flatter it is, the better contact point you have at pushing against the rubber. The pointier it is, then it's going to be digging into the rod itself, so you do not want to have a pointy. If you do have one, you need to make sure it's flat. Now you have to add your weight and see how well it holds up. That's how you gauge it. I want to gauge these with 4 bottles as well. I'm not showing it, just talking. And if it's too loose, then we have to add more tension. It's a second bottle. All right, so he's already going down, so we need to add some more tension. And so forth. So as you increase your tension, you kind of know, you have a good feel of how much torque to put. Now, this is not ideal. Okay, so let's take it out of the bit. Once you get it started, I do like using the drill to get it started. And once it's started, you just use your manual and slowly torque it so you have a good feel. Now, only you will be able to know how much your tension is going to be, but a good gauge is 4 bottles, and each one of these, you'll see how much they weigh, and each one is. And as you get tighter and tighter, you can add or loosen. Don't go crazy, just a little bit at a time. Okay. See, it's all about fine tuning. You can just add things to these, but if you're not actually able to, you may say, yeah, fine tune. Limit the amount of force, increase or decrease, then you just basically, it's just trial and error. Okay, that looks good. Look at that. You see how slow the recoil goes up? Now, here's an old one. I mean, look at that. See that? And this is your damper. dampener. That's all that does. Absorbs, dissipates. Look at that. So even if you didn't have the ability to fine tune it, you would still be better off than that, because that's just craziness. Look at that. You can't turn it stiff, tight. See how soft it goes up? Beautiful. All right, let's try it again and see what we got. First bottle is up. Second. Well, we're going down on 2. All right. So we are still not tight enough. Almost had a little accident here. See, when you have a gauge, it helps, because it's my 3rd time trying. All right, so we're gonna go a little more snug. Sometimes we do have to roughen. You see how smooth that is? So I don't think I did do the roughing on this one. I did not. See that? So that helps, because it helps you from not over torquing and over tightening the screw. So you do want a little bit of abrasion, because over time the rubber literally makes it way too soft, too smooth. Now 2 bottles would slide it down. Now I'm going to see what's going to happen after we do this. It should increase it quite a bit. And now you also want to go down a little bit here. So you're going to push this down, because when the rod compresses, it literally goes close to here based on your weight, because you got to remember the machine is loaded, not just with water, but with clothes as well. And again, you want to go horizontal, not vertical. All right, let's try. Okay. 1 bottle. That's 2. All right, it's not moving. It was moving on the 2nd one. I'd love to see it move on the 4th, just slowly going down. Okay, we're going down very slow on, barely moving on 3rd. So let's do the 4th one and see. Okay, now it is moving now. You can see it. All right. So we're going to make it where 3 doesn't make it go down. We want it to be a little bit stiffer, because factory is 3 bottles. We're going just a little bit above factory. All right. So what do? Increase your stiffness. 1 turn. And push her back down again. All right. 1 bottle. 2. 3. 4. Okay, and 4 we're going down. I'm fine with 4 going down. Totally. Not bad. Yeah. 4 is fine. 3 doesn't do it, but 4 does it. Yeah, so we're at 3 and it's not dropping. Okay, so we're good. So we want it to go down on 4. That's our stiffness, and you should be good. You can also loosen it somewhat if you want to do it on 3, like factory. Totally fine. I just wanted to include one more, so that's done, and then we have one last one left. In fact, this one I haven't put a set screw in, and he only had the insert without the, you may say, the set screw. So let's see what he does. That's 1 bottle. 2. So he's going down already on 2. Okay, so without the other part, it would not be tight enough. Still better, guys. Still better, and might even be okay if you do super light loads. Let's do 3. He's kind of hovering at 2. Put another one. Yeah, so he's going down at 3. So you'd be right, right borderline, but you definitely wouldn't be stiffer than stock. So we're gonna insert the other set screw in this one, and yeah, so we're gonna insert the other set screw. 3, I think we're starting to go down. Yep. So 3 is not too bad either, guys, because 2 didn't do it. 3 slides it. So we're gonna take stuff off. And we're gonna snug it down just 1 more notch to where 3 doesn't take it, but 4 does. So 1 more turn. And don't overdo your screwing, just 1 at a time. It's very repetitious, but what are you gonna do? There's 2. You can also use plastic bottles. I drink these waters, so. All right, 3 is still going down. And if you want, guys, you don't have to take it off. You can just hold it up, turn it, and you just snug as you go along. Wish you could see, but basically what I'm doing is tightening it as the bottles are suspended. All right, push it back up. All right, barely moving on 3. Nope, stopped, you can see. So we're going to add fourth bottle. And we want it to go down in 4. There you go. These are actually for a customer, local. He bought the Amazon knockoff, and I think he paid like $45. And I told him, I'll repair your OEM, and that will save him quite a bit. So I like to test these things before I show them to you guys, and you know, you can't go wrong. Look at that. It's actually hard to push up. I'm literally pushing. Literally pushing. All right, so this one is done. Look at that, firm, better than new. And here's an old one again. Look at that. Okay, take a look. I can literally rotate it. Can't at all. Okay, and they all should be like that. See that? No movement at all. So one last one and we're done. Again, you guys pretty much know what to do now. So thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing. And also, I do have other videos over in Patreon. I appreciate you guys take a look and do a little subscribing as well. Now, real quick here, if you're having difficulty getting these out, now sometimes guys you can actually remove some of the grease, but I like to leave the grease because it gives you a little bit of dampness, a little bit of cushion. If you actually make it too dry, they could actually get hot. So to get these out, you just got to go like this, super fast. Okay, and sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not, but eventually you get it out. If not, get a piece of sandpaper and just rub along here. And when you pass it back over, see it? Comes right on out, because we're talking about friction here. All right, there it is. He's no good. And of course, you're gonna add a little bit of sandpaper down here. And we got our last drill to do, and we're all done. All right, guys, thanks for watching. All right, guys, so I want to point something out. Before you drill into that, and let's say you're not sure what size drill bit, I want you to use a reference, get a piece of wood, make sure your hole is nice and straight, drill into the wood, now get your screw, make sure it fits tight, but not too tight. You don't want to split that. So you want it to be nice and snug. All right, just a reference point. Don't make your mistake there. All right, so we're gonna drill into this one. Thought it was loose. See how loose that is? And yeah. So this also can be used and fixed. So I'll have a video on this one as well, but it's gonna be the same process. These are OEM, and I'm going to be doing fix on this one, all 4 of them. So we're going to start with this one first. And so first things first, this is where all the friction is going to be taking place. So we're going to slide this up. So kind of mark where it's at, and you're going to have a piece of sandpaper in your kit. And you want to do a slight abrasion just around. Okay, and try and wipe it off, because you don't want to have the sandpaper grit or any shaving that's going to be impeding the friction between the two when we install. All right, so now all right. All right, so I already took the piece out. There's going to be a piece in here, black piece of rubber, and that's the main guide. That's the one that's defective. Now, some guys, if you don't get the kit, you may try and actually fab your own. The kit actually allows you to increase your tension or decrease the tension. Just putting a piece of rubber will not do it. Samsung had the perfect sizing, but over time the friction actually reduces the, you may say, the traction, so it loses much of its traction, and then of course it starts bouncing. So this is the dampener area, this piece, but they work in tandem when they're close together. So that's what we're going to do. We have 4 of those, so will you, and we're going to insert it. Okay, perfect. So now you're going to bring these 2 together, and it should go all the way in. Now, if it's too long, you need to make sure you cut it off and check it. And also what you want to pay attention to, you see this slit? The slit goes opposite off the set screw. So now we know the slit is on that side. You want to keep it just like that. Bring them together. Squeeze them. Now if you want to get a Sharpie, if you can, or just keep it just in this position, because now we're going to drill a small hole here. Usually I have it on a piece of either my vise or something, so make sure it's nice and stable. This is just so you guys can get a nice up close. Now when you drill, be mindful, don't go crazy. Do small increments. Pull it out. And what you're looking for is the rubber. Once you drilled all the way through, you'll see it. I can see it from there. So make sure you're all the way through. There it is. Now, blow it out. Okay. Now we have our set screw, and we're going to insert it. Now, I recommend you use a drill for the first insertion. It's going to be too hard to get it started manually. Make sure you're set and keep it straight. Okay, nice and straight. All right, now we're going to use our manual and do our final adjustment. Now, okay, so we're still moving, nice and easy, but we need to be stiff. We need some stiffness. Now, see how easily that turns? So we're not actually doing anything yet. Set him down for a second. Grab another one. He's not fixed. He's just like that. You see how easily it turns? Now you can hold this in your hand. Make sure. See that? So, all right. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we have our weight, and we're going to increase the tension. Now, you can do this. You can rotate your rod, or your spring, sorry, and if you're able to get that in like that, you can just leave that in, and you can basically tweak it as firm as you want or as loose as you want. Obviously you don't want it loose, but we have a method that I'm going to show you how to go by. Okay, that's super loose. Another way of checking to see how loose it is, just turn this and you can see it's moving. Okay, all of these are actually off of a factory rod, Samsung, and I have actually, I'll link the other video to it in which I use the same amount of tension, the standard. So I give you the option. 3 of the weights that I use is the standard. Now I always recommend you go a little bit over, which is 4. I think it's like 5 pounds or 5.5 pounds. So we're going to now get the bottles and we're going to put them on, and I want you to see the difference. So we're going to hang the bottles, and each one's like a pound. I'll include the video, you'll see all that. I'm not going to explain it again. So we're going to hang them here, and you'll see as they push down this. Okay, so we're looking for a certain amount of weight, as in resistance. When that resistance is met, we're good. We don't need to do anything else. You do not want it to stop the resistance. You want it to basically overcome and slide, but not before. Right around that marker, 3.5 to 5. It's kind of like where I like to get it. All right, so let's do that. Yep, use a tool like this and just tighten it up slowly. All right, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go, guys. All right. So I like to start and see where we're at. See that? 1 pound is almost pushing it down. Now this one has the rubber. We have not tweaked anything. Has not been adjusted. So I want to see the difference now. We're going to work on him. This one has not been touched. And by the way, just so you know, okay. All right, so let's try this one. He hasn't moved. 2 bottles. Okay, so he's going down. All right, 2 bottles, and he's already down. So Samsung factory is 3, and it goes down on 3. This went down on 2, so this would bounce. Super bounce. In fact, it might even go down on 1. Let's see. Okay, so 1 didn't do it. Let's try it again. Just want to be able to replicate everything. There it goes. All right. So we do have a little marker. All right. We know bad, and we already checked this one. We saw he went down. I think he went down on 2, I think. Let's do it one more time. Oh wow, he goes down on 1. Look at that. Okay. All right. So we're looking for 3 or 4. In my case, I'm going to do it at 4. So, all right. So let's just give you a better angle here. So right now we're tightening. We're going to go slowly. You want to just go slow until you kind of feel. It's hard to show on the video, but what you're looking for is movement. See, you can still move it. Pretty smooth. So we're going to tighten it some more. All right, hope you can see. All right, still loose. Getting a little tighter. Okay. The gauge is basically, this has to go all the way through and into the second piece and pushing against the rubber. So sometimes you do have to make sure you're all the way in. Okay, look at that. That's tight. That's not even moving. Wow. See that? All right, so loosen. Watch, I'm loosening. See that? All right, so we're gonna slide it up. And I wanna see where we're at. All right, that's 1. 2. Remember, 2, it was sliding down. 3. Okay. So right now, if you're going for the factory, you would loosen it somewhat. Okay? But we're going for 4. We're going for a little extra stiff. So 1 more bottle. All right, let's see. Okay, so at 4 it's not going down either. So that means we're super tight. So let's loosen up some and try not to shake it, because if you shake it too much, you can compromise the basically increasing friction. Reducing friction. So we don't want to do that. I should have an extension on here. Let's do that. All right, we're going to loosen. I'm going to back it off just a little bit. See that? Now we're going down. All right, so what we're going to do now, I like to do it a couple times just to make sure that everything is good, so you don't get a false reading. So slide it back up. Wow, it's very tight. I can feel it. Okay, I'm up. Now I'm going to take one off. Now this is 3, because if it goes down on 3 now, we need to snug it up just a little bit. See, we're good. We're not moving on 3 at all. So, all right, gonna put back on, and we should go down on 4, releasing. All right, I'm fine with this. We're going down on 4. We didn't go down on 3. So I'm good with that. So that's the level of tension we're looking for. You want to make sure that you have the right tension, otherwise the washer is still going to bounce. So this actually is better than Samsung factory. Okay, see that? That's stiff. Now you can also put it on the ground, push down, and you can see it's very sturdy. When you push on it, it moves, but it takes a second to move. Compare it now with this one that hasn't been touched. Okay, see that? Easily turns. See that? And if we put just one bottle, I just have to repeat it on it. Probably slide on down. Let's see. Look at that. And that's just one bottle. Okay? And that's the idea. Alright guys, I'm going to do the rest of these. Thanks for watching, and enjoy fixing